It is 9:30 on Wednesday, April 17th, and I'm calling to order a regular meeting of the Danville Architectural Heritage Board. Tom Ty has abandoned us for the day, so I will be acting as chair. We do not have minutes for the last meeting, so we'll just table that till next month and do them then.
I apologize.
That's fine. We have one COA hearing on 141 North 3rd Street to put in new gutters. And is there anybody here to speak to that? Okay. Does anybody have any comments, questions on that particular job? Yeah, they're replacing gutters. They got a new roof, and I was like if you read through it, 4 layers of old shingles. So I really appreciate the work they're putting into it. And the only comment I have on that structure is their one gutter downspout comes down right in front of their neighbor's
I see that.
building. And so I would assume it would be lovely if they would paint it to match the neighbor's building.
Well, you guys could,
That's one of our
Yeah,
available.
yeah. So just to make sure that that happens.
so we want to approve it with
With the-
conditions?
Yeah, with that one gutter being the same color as the neighbor's building,
Okay.
if possible. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes. All right, voting is done? Are you gonna run away? Okay. Yeah, all right, so then we're gonna move as quickly as possible. Staff approved COAs?
That is correct. You have 4 of them. Most of them are well, 2 of them are signs. There's a vinyl window sign and a blade sign. The one on West Main Street, they had to repair some casing underneath the windows, so they pulled the windows out and put the casing in, which was fine. It's in line with their guidelines, and I approved that. The other one was basically 222 West Main. It is something that you guys have already approved. I went down there and looked at it and just extended that COA on it because it was approved to do the exact same thing you've already approved.
And I would like to note that seeing movement on 222 West Main Street makes me very, very happy.
Yeah, he's on a lot of his buildings downtown now, so. I
Well,
think
there were
that's-
other issues with that, so I'm pleased it's all
Oh, there
moving
was some
forward.
issues, yeah. I went in, it's a cool old building, but boy, needed help. So, so I think they're proceeding pretty well, so I think we're good with that.
Okay, number 5, does anybody have any comments on the approved COAs? No? Again, thank you for all of that. Makes our life so much easier. Number 5, comment on the Willis Russell National Registration nomination.
It was heard by the state. The only change that they made was in the name itself. Because of the period of significance, I believe they're calling it the Thomas Barbie House.
Really?
Really, because Willis Russell did not occupy that particular house during its period of significance, and so that is the only change that I'm aware of.
Okay.
It's been forwarded to NPS. I guess they've got probably now 15 or 20 more days to comment and get it back, but I suspect it will move on through with that change.
Okay.
I think it's the Thomas Barbie House. And when I talked to Ben and Lisa, that was the only change they made, because that occupant had to be in that house at the time of significance.
Understood. Okay.
So that was the big change. It will not be called the Willis Russell House, no. Yeah, well, I mean, I would imagine they will locally call it that, but its register listing, I believe, is Thomas Barbie House.
We'll have to make sure that Willis Russell is not forgotten.
Oh, I don't think it will be.
Good. Preservation Workshop Series update.
We've had 2.
Yes, the first one was a little sparse.
They were both very
Very
sparse.
Really?
Yes.
I was hoping it was the windows? Was
No,
this-
the windows are coming up.
Okay.
So, I've talked to Bridget a little bit about that, and I think these workshops seem to be a little antiquated, and I think we're gonna try something else, maybe more digital. We can use CLG money to produce little videos, which I think might be better received. Everybody's so busy. I mean, I get it. So we need to look at something else. I have big hopes for the window workshop.
The window workshop would be, I mean, it, to me, seems like hands-on, fabulous. Everyone should be interested in it.
Yeah, I think so. So
Do we have posters up at all the Lowe's and Sherman-Williams?
I keep putting them up, they keep taking them down.
Yeah, but the Sherman-Williams is always good here.
Sherwin-Williams has got it. I went in and said, hey, the guy that owns the building.
No, they're always good about posting community stuff. We like them.
So please don't take this down. So, yeah, I've covered up town pretty well with it. I just think, there needs to be a easier, better way to get it to people when they're sitting in their living room.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I've been
thinking
look-
about it.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it a little bit, so I think we can do better
Okay.
next time around.
Great. Anybody else have any comments? Okay. The tax moratorium discussion, we received what has been done in the state, and it was nice and short, which I appreciated, and clear. And it looks like everything in the state pretty much is handled the same way.
The only differences I see is there may be some differences in what they can actually use the moratorium on. Louisville includes a lot of different stuff other than historic preservation. They use it for blighted areas. There's some time limits and some fee differences, but it's basically the same. They suspend the taxes on particular properties, and then they recoup that loss after the moratorium's over. Generally at a larger gain because it becomes a revenue-producing property.
I will say that of all the, most of, I don't know if y'all had a chance to read it, that, most of them run for 5 years,
Yes.
and you have 2 years to complete work, but was it Covington that lets you transfer? You can, if you sell the building, you can transfer the moratorium with that.
Right, that's correct.
And I thought that was a lovely,
Yeah, and most of that, a lot of it was just bullet pointed, Mary, to kind of pare it down. There's a lot more reading you can do if you want to do, but a lot of them let them transfer as well.
Yeah.
So they're pretty much customized to the community, I think. So, you could do a lot with it. The problem is going to be budgets when people get into budgeting, so.
then that was my thought, is there any way we could find out the impact of numbers? Like how much potential tax revenue loss?
I don't know. I don't know how you would gauge that, actually. I guess we could find a city the size of Danville and do some comparison, maybe, other than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it just really depends on who signs up for it. If you have everybody in downtown sign up for it, so I don't know. That's something I can't answer. But I do know that most of the colleagues I've talked to say that the recoup on the back end is substantial because the buildings are improved, the taxes go up, they're revenue-producing properties at that particular point. So the investment seems to pay off, but you're going to lose a little money over the top end of it. But the back end seems to, compensate for it. Now, how we would do that, I don't know. I mean, without a study of some sort, I'm not sure how to answer that for you.
And I did show this to the city manager, and that was his concern, was,
Oh, I just know people are going to ask.
yeah.
People are going to want to know. That's just what.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any comments? I seem to be doing all the talking. I'm just supposed to be leading the meeting, not talking. Come on, folks.
So, is that, do you want us as staff to do anything further? Do you want anything presented further? Do you want to think about it, or what's your?
I'd like to think about it. I'd like to see Tom.
Right, given that
Tom's
we're
input on
missing.
it.
Okay. Well, we will.
But we appreciate, and again, appreciate the work
It's a
on
really
the
good
research on
start.
that, yeah. All right, number 8, bylaws, discussions, and recommendations of ordinance amendment.
Yes, that's me. Part of our first, thank you for all you all do and for your attendance when you are here. But we also, as staff, struggle with meeting the requirements that are set out in ordinance and in our certified local government agreement. One of those goals is to establish an adequate and qualified historic preservation review commission. And to be adequate and qualified, you need to be here, and you also need to attend educational sessions. There is required under the City of Danville ordinance and the Certified Local Government Agreement that each member each year attends an educational session. So this was just a topic, we put some information out there for discussion. The educational session is not something we can change. That is required by certified local government, required by our ordinance. So to be a certified local government, that is important. We have had multiple years where we turned in our annual report and all members have not attended all the educational sessions. So we need to stress how important that is for us to be in compliance, as well as how important it is for you all to be here to hear discussions, to know what's going on, to see what you've done from previous meetings. And I know people can't get to every single meeting, but we tried really hard, and you all have as well, to reduce meetings by allowing things to be staff approved. And so we're trying to keep those to just once a month. Now, if we need to change the time of the meeting, that's something you all could look at to see if that would work better to get more people to be able to attend. But we try to keep them very short. We as staff, we've tried to do everything we can ahead of time to get things to you so you're not here a long period of time. It's just, we have 7 people assigned to this board by the city commission. The certified local government requires a minimum of 5. So to have a quorum, we have to have 4 people here. And so if anybody's not coming or missing, it really causes us angst as staff to try to figure out who's going to be here. We used to try to tell us if you're, we're assuming you're going to be here unless you tell us you're not. But even this meeting, we were anxious about whether we were going to have 4 people. And that puts the person that's applying for a COA that's having to come to you all in a precarious situation too, because of timelines and things. If it's not something staff can approve, we're caught. And that doesn't look good for any of us. So, yes.
I have a couple of things. First of all, can I kind of go through these bylaws, some thoughts on a few
Sure, this
things?
is just for discussion for you all to think about.
I think we need to change the title. This is the old document. It doesn't even have the right board name. It's still under the Architectural Review Board. So we probably need to change that if we're going to make changes,
Yes,
just to be
no.
consistent. But Stephen, I have a question for you. If the majority of our members are not taking the training, does that put us in any kind of legal concern if somebody were to appeal or to take us to court?
Sure
And
does. If there are voting members who, let's say, in a vote of denial, and let's say it's a close vote, and some could argue in that case in a court of law, at least as a matter of equity, or as a matter of law, that your vote isn't authorized if you hadn't completed the training that is required, or you're not a member in good standing per the ordinance or our CLG agreement.
I love that term, to stay a member in good standing.
Yes. So it would create an appearance that there might be a member in bad standing, and should that vote apply. I don't know of any case necessarily on point to that, but it's certainly a logical argument. If I was on the other side, I would make it. If I was counsel for someone who'd been denied a certificate of appropriateness, I would be checking to make sure that the members voted were actually qualified to serve, and if the denying authority was in good standing, meaning all members were compliant, was the city in compliance, and if not, should that be construed in my favor? I mean, I would argue that.
Would it help us to put some language in here about attendance? Do we have an attendance policy?
Well, there is, in the last sentence there under A, there is.
There isn't. Okay, wait a minute.
And I should remind you that anything that's underlined is added language. So
Oh,
what's
okay.
underlined would be an additional component to your bylaws.
Okay,
So whatever is underlined does not currently exist.
okay.
And also stressed, you all are a hearing board, which is a little different than a committee, other committees that the city has. We have a couple of hearing boards, so it's very important that you be qualified to hear these certificates as well as to know what's going on. And as you already know, we're into a lot of legal things with murals and other stuff, so it's very important for everybody to be up to date. So anyway, we want to just present these to you for food for thought, and if you have any recommended changes or whatever, and then we can vote them at a future time, or whatever you all want to do, whatever the pleasure of the board is. But
Do we have a procedure document? I thought we did. Do we have a document, another document that's like our operational document?
That would be the bylaws.
This is it.
This is
Okay.
the operational document.
Okay.
So, for
That must
instance,
be-
the
never mind.
recommendations before you would state just clearly for the record that the failure of a member to complete at least one educational meeting on historic preservation in any calendar year results in the automatic removal of that member on
Okay.
January 1st of the following year.
Gotcha.
Meaning they wouldn't be qualified to serve at that point, and also puts an attendance requirement that in the event of the absence of a member in 3 consecutive meetings, that member shall be immediately removed, creating a vacancy. So those would be 2 new changes to your bylaws that would also be reflected in a companion ordinance amendment for the city of Danville. If you recommend a change to these bylaws, you can do that internally, and then those would be sent to the city commission to review to have an ordinance amendment.
Can we put this on the agenda next month again, so Tom? Oh, yes, for sure. Tom can,
Sure.
All right, and we have approval of window restoration professional for the workshop?
Well, she keeps sending papers that never show up, so, oh. Yeah. I have had unbelievable struggles trying to get somebody to do this. I've called Pine Mountain. The young lady that's supposed to be applying is Kelsey Gray. And I texted her again this morning. I'm like, it's not here. Can you just send me a digital copy of this? So she's more than qualified. She just came out of Pine Mountain, and she's highly recommended by Patrick Kennedy. It's just getting everybody's paperwork in. Does not seem to be.
And when is that again?
May 11th. I've got a backup plan, but I would rather go with her if possible, so.
Can I give you the business card of the fellow that did this workshop in Covington?
No, I don't think so.
I'll send you that.
Yeah, please do. I've heard she's very good, too. It's just, you know, I've had a really difficult time getting people to do stuff, so. But I have a backup plan.
Okay,
If
so
worse
will we
comes
need
to worse.
to approve whoever it is before the actual event?
Well, I was going to, Stephen, a point of clarification. We advertised for RFPs, got no responses. So we've been just trying to find someone. Since we
What's the
had this
cost?
meeting, we were going to put it on the agenda. Do
Why
you
don't
need
why
us-
don't you approve it up to a maximum expenditure amount of, say, $2,000? Give yourself some leniency, and that way, since they're a qualified professional, you can enact an agreement with them without having a bid approved.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? Did you hear the motion?
Approve up to $2,000 for a window consultant, so we don't have to call a special meeting.
Up to, that's
Up
just
to,
to
it's gonna
cover.
be about 1,000.
Maybe it's better than it is to say up to 1,000.
Do we have to put 20% into that, or 40%?
Well, if she comes in at $1,100, we're gonna have to come back in.
You
so.
would.
Yeah.
You would. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't harm you by going above. I mean, staff only has a certain much money to spend. So really, what you're doing is approving staff to hire someone within budget. I mean, if you like that language better, you can say
Within
that.
budget.
Within budget. Okay.
But you need to know, I mean, that has, whether that could be $5,000. So,
Well,
I
the
mean,
budget, it's $1,500. So
Well, there you
Let's
go.
use that
So,
number.
there you go.
Yeah, okay, up to $1,500. Okay.
Go
I
ahead.
amend my motion to reflect up to $1,500.
Do I have a second? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None opposed? It passes. Great.
Good.
Thank you. Good luck.
God.
Please plan to attend. We would love to see you there.
I know.
It's much more profitable than being a designer.
You have to travel, first of all, to the event and bring all the stuff. All the materials are going to be supplied, correct? For the
Yes,
people to
oh,
come
yeah,
in?
yeah, yeah.
And
So
it is
there's
in the
others.
basement.
Yes.
Uh-huh. So you're going to do that? Can we see your resume, please, sir? I'm going to need to see some preservation work. Do we have any other business anybody would like to bring up?
Yes, I have one point of clarification. On the 141 North Third, when we say paint gutter, we want it the same color as the neighbor's guttering or the neighbor's building?
Well, unless they change the location of it, right now, it is just right in front of the neighbor's property.
Okay.
And so I just think it would be good neighborly business if it matched
The building.
the building that it's against. Now, that being said, if they change it so it's against their building, well then.
Right, right. I'm just making sure that when I put the language in there,
Yeah.
it's what it needs to say. So, okay, that's it for me. Thank you.
Then.
Yeah, how
do I
about
hear
the
a
color of the gutter matches the facade on which it is attached?
motion? That is lovely, yes.
Yeah.
See,
There you go.
we like having you here for this exact point.
I enjoy being here. Thank you.
Do I hear a motion? To adjourn. Do I hear a second? Everybody go home. All right.
Thank you all very much.